We still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications options. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for other mints. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices, I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for rubbing mints. Hush now, city kids. But you know, the wouldn't let you have it any other way.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is the Fans Forum back in its rightful place on a Monday evening, and it is welcome to Magnus, Alan, Darren, George, Barry, Jeff, and Kevin. Welcome to you as well. We'll start just with a little bit of breaking news, I guess. Nothing confirmed yet, but Craig Hope in the Daily Mail is confirmed today that Newcastle have held talks with David Hopkinson as they search for a new chief executive officer to replace Darren Eales. Newcastle have spoken to the former Real Madrid executive, and he's 54 years of age. He's a Canadian. And where has he been? What has he done recently? Well, most recently, he was the president and chief operating officer of Madison Square Garden Sports Corporation, which is the leading candidate. He is the leading candidate for the role, we believe, with Darren Eales, of course, stepping down due to bad health. Of course, we'll be discussing this probably in depth with the amigos on Friday and with the professionals on Sunday. But I can tell you from our WhatsApp chat today, already the lads aren't too impressed. For example, from a Madison Square Gardens perspective, they've got a shocking record, mainly caused by the owner who initiated facial recognition and then started banning people who criticised him in any aspect of his business life. Gives you an indication of where this guy is coming from. Be interesting to see if he does land at Newcastle and what kind of things he tries to implicate. But we will start tonight's show, Magnus, by looking back at the final day of the season, that roller coaster ride that we had last Sunday. Newcastle United losing their final game of the season by 1-0. Jordan Pickford and Everton came and spoilt the party. But the party certainly wasn't over, because at the final whistle we did hear that Manchester United had Manchester United had done us a favour and defeated Aston Villa. A lot of controversial events in that game from an Aston Villa perspective, but it suited Newcastle. And that, of course, saw Newcastle finish 5th and qualify for the Champions League next year. So, Magnus, take us through your Sunday afternoon. How did you feel on that roller coaster ride? Yeah, he's paused now. He's paused. We'll have to take Magnus out and bring Magnus back in when he gets his internet sorted. Alan, come to you first, mate.
Well, lads, I can only say it was from afar, because I didn't see much of our game. And I was watching the Man United Aston Villa game with intensity. So as I predicted 4-1. So, and I was hoping for an early goal to settle the nerves down. And as the game went on, 0-0, and the other results were 0-0 for the majority of the time. And then they started slowly changing with Man City winning. And then Chelsea scoring. I was getting more and more nervous, and the tension was building up. And then hearing Everton scoring against me, and I was watching the Man United, and I could honestly explode because I'm thinking we're going to blow this whole season on one game as far as the Champions League is concerned. So for 10 minutes, I was in mourning with a black armband round, and I've never been so happy to see Man United score a goal in all my life. As far as the incident concerned of, the goalkeeper with Aston Villa, yes, it should have been a goal. But then again, lads, I'll go back what Darren said in the chat before. It's a 38-game season, but didn't we have the same problem with PSG? In the Champions League only a year earlier, where we were robbed basically of a famous victory, and we could have quite easily got further in the Champions League. It happens to all, unfortunately, but over the whole season, I think we deserved it. So I wasn't disappointed, and I didn't feel as though we were lucky as so many people on the day, maybe, but over all the seasons, over 38 games. So I can't really comment much about the game as such, because I'm not one of my favourite clubs either. But as it happens, it's all turned out for the best, and what a tremendous season, lads. Finishing fifth, winning a trophy, and roll on next season. I'm now concentrating on transfers if they do happen, and wanting them to happen as quickly as possible. So I'll let Darren speak about the game, because obviously I didn't see much of it at all.
Okay, Darren, I think the problem lies with you, Darren. This whole situation of you buying George a Coke before the match. You rather stupidly did something on the match that you don't normally do.
Yeah, I bought him a pint of Coke instead of a half a Coke. So I do kind of hold George's responsibility, because he never said no. When just gives me normal. So I thought, you bought George, I'll get you a pint, and then it cost us, do you know what I mean? So after a bad start, Eddie Howe didn't get his tactics wrong. The players didn't turn up. It was too slow, sluggish, and for the first time ever, I think the players looked tired at the end of the season. We play a 3-5-2, well, 3-5, well, 3-5-2 or a 5-3. It was something like he's had Barnes done. Gordon was shite again. Murphy, did he give the ball for them to score the goal? Well done, Jacob Murphy. He looked lost at the wing back. He didn't know what to do. And then he held half time change. He went to back the 4-3-3. And we're just trying to force the play too much. But Aston Villa, great to see he's getting knocked out of the Champions League. You set us down, you laughed at us when we got sent down. So what goes around comes round. So I've got the sympathy for you. But we've got lucky. Like I say, the last goal should have stood. Thank God the referee did Roy's whistle, or could have been in UEFA Cup. But it's so good. Like I say, it's about a 38-game season, not over one game. And people would have been like, "Oh, it's disappointing and shocking when it gets something." But me personally, after the start of the season, I'll be happy. A good cup run and UEFA somewhere in Europe. That was my prediction at the start of the season. So Champions League's nice. Don't get us wrong. I'll be going Champions League away, hopefully. Me and War Kid. So it's just nice to see Villa fans cry. That's all I like to see.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it's almost like the ultimate payback, isn't it? I love this picture that was put out on Twitter rather quickly. Champions League on the Tyne instead of Sob on the Tyne. Very, very good, very appropriate. Yeah, Jeff had to go and get the door there. It wasn't Avon calling for George, as somebody said. Kev, yeah, I mean, Darren mentions tiredness there, and tiredness definitely played its part, I think. And again, I think we talked about Alexander Isak. Would he play? Wouldn't he play? literally Alexander Isak in that game was just a name on the team sheet, wasn't he? Because, you know, he was carrying that injury. And of course, as the season closed, he pulled out of the Swedish squad.
Yeah, it was evident that you could say not a lot of them were injured, but even the Botman thing where he's come in and out, had months out. Not that he was not struggling, but you could tell that his other knee's not right. Again, Isak's just another. It was, like you said, a name on the team sheet, just probably for a boost for the fans, just to try and get something out of the game. I think, to be honest, Eddie Howe got it wrong. To be fair, on the day, I thought he was with the. I wouldn't say. Well, I'll say it. It's a negative approach to go the three at the back, whatever, 4 midfield, 2, whatever, inverted 3 up top, whatever you want to call it. I would have went and I said it. I think I said to myself and my wife, and when I was watching the game, and even in the Facebook messenger, that I mentioned to play Dan Burn and left back, Fabian Schär and another in the across the back four with Tino Livramento at right back, and it went to a 4. We played 3 systems across the game. We dropped into a 5, then we went to a 3, then we played 4-3-3 towards the end to try and push and get something out of the game, and it didn't work. And so fair play to Everton, fair play to David Moyes. He done one over on him a little bit and overloaded midfields. But at the end of the day, we're in the Champions League. I don't really care. We got there. That's all what really matters. And hopefully, but when the fixtures come out and the draw and all that sort of stuff, you might be seeing my lovely self over there get back home and get a game under my belt again. So that's the plan, to get back over for mainly probably the derby, which we'll probably get onto, but because that's always around my birthday, so that'd be a nice little gift as well. So a little bit of breaking news: I might be coming over, just trying to get some funds and my missus to get a damn passport. But it is what it is. But yeah, so again, delighted for the lads, delighted for the staff, everybody involved. Let's have a crack at the Champions League next season and give it a good go.
Okay, good stuff, and look forward to seeing you, Kev, when you get over here. It'll be fantastic. Magnus, we will go again, mate. See whether your technical problems have sorted themselves out. You know the question, mate. Let us know what you felt about the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I had a little bit of a long night the night before, because there was a company conference and it lasted a long way into the night. So well, I had a long day, because also there in the morning I went to take practice games with my son, and after that I went to a graduation of my niece, and that's where the game started. And I watched it with one eye first half, and was gonna try to make it home before the end of the game, and. I walked through my doors as Everton are scoring the first goal, and I was just deflated when that happened. Completely deflated. You know, Fabian Schär should have scored 2 goals in this game, and I was speaking on the Icelandic pod the week before, and I was calling for the normal 4-3-3 that we know so well, and I was quite disappointed to see Jacob Murphy, Barnes, and Gordon all being starting the game, and 2 of them in the wrong position. So I was mostly worried about Jacob Murphy in the wing back, because that is really not his strongest bit. I've chosen him as one of the players of the season, but totally not in that position, and it was worrying. Then there was another issue. I was trying to find the right TV channel, and I ended up watching the rest of the game in Arabic, and I didn't really have a clue what was happening in the other games until I saw our crest moving slightly up the board, you know, as I was already starting to accept maybe Europa League was where we were heading. So pleasantly surprised because the week before I also on our podcast over here we were speaking to a Man United fan, and he said not to expect any favors from them, and very likely they would just be rolled over by Aston Villa. And I said, like, well, you would be doing us a big favor if you do show up on the day. And I said, like, crazy enough, with it being in our hands, we might still lose and qualify for Champions League. And that's exactly what happened. And I would like to not dwell on it too much because we made it. We got a trophy. This is one of the best seasons I remember. It probably is the best ever season I remember because winning a trophy and qualifying for Champions League. Probably my only disappointment this season is the FA Cup. But I think we all share that, and there's a room for improvement. They looked shattered after the game, and that just tells a story on its own, that we were actually slightly struggling with a lack of players, even only domestically. So that tells us we got to go out there and invest, and we got to do it soon. So all in all, very happy, and the whole day was crazy for me, and I never almost got the chance to be nervous. But in the end of the day, we got what we wanted, and I'm very happy and excited for the summer.
Great stuff. George, we got your views last night, but not everybody watched last night's show. So, just give us your views again on that Everton match. I know you had quite strong opinions.
Well, yeah. To begin with, somebody on this programme forecast 5-0 win. Who the hell that was, I don't know. But never mind.
I said 4-1, George.
I think the pity for the pint of coke.
No, I find it. You all, the lads have all said bits that I agree with completely. The biggest bit is we did it, and Magnus is absolutely right. Even in my situation, after 70 odd years of being a supporter, this has got to be the best season ever. And in some of the games there, we've played really well. Some of the best football ever. I mean, think of the other bits about the season. Think of the games we lost at home. Bournemouth, Fulham, Brighton. If they'd gone in the bag, we would have been second. In West Ham, we could have been actually, if we'd picked up points that we would have expected to pick up, we could actually be knocking on the door. So, but we did it. We did it. We're in the Champions League, and we've won a trophy. It's just incredible. I smiled when Magnus said about Arabic on his television. I've got to tell you, in by 1892, when the Everton goal went in, there was quite a few fellas around me. I'm sure they were talking Arabic as well, because it wasn't English that I normally use. But it was a great day. The war flags did the treat and all the rest of it. And listen to Kevin, he said exactly what I thought from the first 10 minutes, that David Moyes out thought Eddie Howe, unfortunately, and Eddie didn't react. But I'm not going to be down on Eddie because, as I say, look at all the positives. Even in this game, we're talking about losing, but every statistic you look at, we were better than them. The only trouble was we couldn't do the necessary and hit the onion bag. So I'm not going to be negative about it. It was great, and some happy scenes at the end when the word came through that Villa had lost, it all adds up, as I say, to what's been a memorable season, and the one we'll all remember, I'm sure. But the other thing is, lads, it's just the start. Even for me at my age and years I've been going, it's just the start. I'm raring for the next bit. Come on, let's take it a step further. And having experienced winning things way back, they were the end of it. Even when we won the FA Cup 3 times in the 50s, when you won the FA Cup, that was the end of it. You just went away and got ready for next year. This one, the things we're doing now, as I say, at the beginning, you're going to get more next year, and there was Champions League and all that to come on. So yeah, I'm not going to be down. It was a bit disappointing to go that way, but there's so many positives to go with it. I find it very hard to be tough, and so many positives about this playing staff and about the some of the background staff. I mean, Bunce, the guy that brought in as well, sort of physical therapist stroke energy consultant. He needs a pat on the back. He's done a job, because some of our players last year in the position we're in would have been on their knees by now, and they've all done that much better. And great. And at long last, for me, how critical I've been of Bruno as captain, and at long last he seems to be showing signs of he's up for the job. He's starting to do the job. So. To finish, to compliment him, last year he said that if we got into the Champions League, he would go up and down St James's Park on his hands and knees. Guess what, fellas? He did it. He did it. Up and down that park on his hands and knees. That takes some commitment to show what he really feels about the place. So disappointing result in many ways, but a great day, and best season ever. Only Liverpool won more games than we did last year, which is a hell of a statistic as well. So, roll on next year, and we're going to have a great time together, us lads, and look for what's round the corner. Some good signings. That's the next thing we want.
And speaking of signings, Chelsea have confirmed the signing of Dario Asugo. Everyone's been waiting for the Liam Delap announcement. Well, it's Asugo who's had his medical done first. He's a Portuguese footballer, 27 appearances last year for Sporting, 1 goal and 0 assists, 9 yellow cards. He's a midfielder. £18.5 million, and signed him on a contract till 2033.
Wow.
Honestly, the amount of money that Chelsea are allowed to spend with these rules, it's absolutely crazy. It really is. Anyway, that is just gone through, just been confirmed on the yellow ticker tape on Sky Sports. And I do read the chat. Some people say I don't read the chat, but yeah, I do read the chat. Jules says, thought you were gearing up for a sing-song there to Dean and Emmett. Emmett says, Steve has that covered, Jules. Thank you. Jules, you need some cans for that, says Dean. I hope not, Steve. Your talents lie elsewhere. Well, I don't like to upset the fans when people are wanting to sing song. Here's Dire Straits Restaurant. You get your money for muffins, but the chips are free. There you go. A bit of singing for everybody. Okay, Barry, on to you, mate. Give us your views on that weekend.
What can you say after that?
There was 1,000 watching when we started, and just got down to 500.
Oh, you got to warn us for these things, man. This is
worst singing. Steve can't react on the worst bit, to be honest.
I know. Well, hold on. Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you, sweet carrot lime. Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. Brilliant stuff.
Why is there no Phil Collins there, man?
It's in the air tonight, Okay, Barry, enough of this madness.
Okay. Oh God. It feels like such a long time ago. I think on the Monday after the game, I was so furious with them because I just feel like they've done so much this season, and I know they've still qualified for the Champions League, which is great, financially wise, and for where the team wants to be, and obviously where the players deserve. And I think deep down we all had this fear that little Thingy Arms was going to do his masterstroke, and he did exactly that. Eddie Howe, for me, watching, I mean, I tried to do the same as Alan. I had the Forest game on my laptop. I had the Newcastle game on somewhere else. I had the Aston Villa Man United game going in the background, and I was just watching it. And when I kept flicking back to Newcastle, it was like watching them do the Chuckle Brothers and their tactics. It was like, to me, to you, to me, to you. It was backwards and forwards, and you just thought, what the hell is Eddie doing? He's been so spot on so many times this season that Moyes, just like the guys have said, totally outwitted him. And he didn't seem to have a clue what to do. I agree with you guys that Isaac should never have played. He was injured anyway. Why did you risk him for that last game and then not? You may as well have played the young kid. I mean, this is my pet hate: is stop playing bloody Wilson. I know it's over and done with now, but Wilson should never have played the last 3 or 4 games. We could have played Willisula and we could have actually gotten a decent look at him and seen what he's capable of ready for next season. But like the guys who said, we'll qualify for the Champions League. It's great. We'll move on. I think with that status and the level that we're going to be at, hopefully that'll encourage the club to spend a bit more and bring a bit more cash in to buy big name players. I am getting concerned as other people. I'm probably the worst one because I'm the one who sits and does the list, Steve. But some of the names we're getting linked with now, according to the news today, we've signed George 3 times. You know what I mean? It was quite a lot of money the last time we signed him. So we're getting that many players in through the door. It's just getting horrendous. I think I need to switch off and just watch the names, but not really take them seriously because we could be getting anybody at the minute. So yeah, everything's out the way. Roll on for the Champions League. I think this transfer window that we're currently in is an absolute joke. I think it's like somebody said today, it's basically there for the Club World Cup. It doesn't really seem to make a heap of the difference to anybody else. So the sooner this one's finished and we'll roll on the next one, the better.
Okay, good stuff. Jeff, your views on the match. I'm sure you are already, and don't forget, you can blow your harmonica at the end of it.
What harmonica? That wasn't me. Well, on the subject of Chelsea, of course, money won't wash itself. That has to be said. Well, it was very much the story of 3 goalies, wasn't it? And I was, our little dinosaur, little prehistoric reptile, who was dressed like a tree, dressed like a poisoned tree frog. And what's this steak business? Is that some sort of bookies? It's sort of trying to undermine the Greg's position in life. It was good to see Ashley Young, old enough to have fathered most of that team. Not that I'm saying anything. Well, I mean, their tactic was to kick it long to Beto on our left. Oh, sorry, our right, and that seemed to work. But we carried on being brave. We pressed out against it, against the press. But we're no good at this head tennis in midfield. It's not our game. Right? Clean, precise passing. And again, the criticism is too slow getting the ball in the box, too much going round circles. What's the name of our set piece coach? Because I was going to make some comment about being too many Mitchells in football, but then again, I don't want to get in trouble. Too many yellow cards, yes. And Gordon, oh dear, doing his sort of balletic stuff. And they're continuing to, he's in trouble because they're continuing to link him somewhere. He's off to Merseyside. Yeah, all in all, a bit slow getting the ball in. What else did we think of? It was nice at the end when the Wags and the Bairns came on. It'd be nice if they brought the pets. It'd be nice to see some dogs. I mean, not that I'm making. Anyway, that's another story. Yeah, big up everybody. And since whenever they had a player called Alcatraz, that's a really strange one, I thought. Yeah, very good, everybody. And my man of the match would be Tonali.
Yeah.
And it's very much, I must admit, it's very much what they used to say, sell in May and go away. Because, I was watching from Hong Kong and the sun came out and it was very nice. And you go outdoors and summer is back and the cricket's on. And now we're back talking about football. Very strange.
Yeah, we continue to talk about football throughout the summer on NUFC Matters Fans Forum. We'll be chatting about transfers and whatever else is in the news. We're going to have a quick ad break. And then we will be talking about people's hopes for the transfer window.
Big thanks to all our sponsors. Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Their website, skipsandbins.com. contact them www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel, UK Coach Holidays. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels, no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the technical side of things. And if you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can find us on Sport Social Podcast Network. We're also available on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to support the channel, then hit the subscribe button. We still do 7 shows a week. Hit the like button, which is the thumb underneath this video, and click share to your social media. You could also take out a monthly membership or an annual membership at nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. For the lifetime membership, you can pay £25 and get a pen, a beer mat, a fridge magnet, a badge and a keyring and your membership card and entry into the monthly draw. Some events coming up: 27th of June 2025, the end of season party. Beresford, Howie and Watson will be at the Tyneside Irish Centre with Joe Allen in aid of North Tyneside Age UK. You can get your tickets for that one from nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk or from Woucher. No Covers takes place at the Clooney. That's on the 29th of June, midday till 3:45, and tickets are £10 from theclooney.com or newcastlelegends.com. Northern Horizon, a Blake 7 convention, takes place on the 9th of August, 10 till 4 at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Come and meet some of the cast and crew in aid of Age UK North Tyneside Dementia. Tickets from nufcmatters.co.uk. An evening with Peter Beardsley and Chris Waddle takes place on Friday the 23rd of January 2026 at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. You can get tickets from the box office 0844 249 1000 or from tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. And Bad Manners are back in the Northeast at the O2 City Hall, Friday the 30th of January 2026. Tickets from ticketmaster.co.uk. And we have copies of The Entertainer's book, signed by Les Ferdinand, available from nufcmatters.co.uk.
Okay, welcome back to the Fans Forum on NUFC Matters. 25 tickets left for the end of season due, which is great going. Thanks to everybody who supported that. Should be a cracking night. Looking forward to seeing as many of you who can get along as possible. Okay, Alan, looking ahead to the transfer window. I'm not going to go through Barry's list at this moment in time, but it has already started. And of course, the transfer window is open as well. Officially open. We have 2 windows on this summer down to the Football Club World Cup. And my question to you lads is, how much do you think we're going to spend in this window? Realistically, how are you feeling about it, Alan? Because I think you were fairly spot on last time round, Alan. You know, a lot of people felt it was going to be 250 million, 300 million. We had this backwards and forwards, as we know, with
it left a bad taste in the mouth, like
it did, but you were right. But yeah, but listen, I mean, that's in the past. We don't look back at that, and it's all about opinions. I've got to be perfectly honest, and I don't mind starting. I'm still not 100% confident that we're going to spend a great deal of money in this window. It's my big concern. And again, this is how I feel. This is my opinion. It's not based on any inside information, in the know rubbish. It's how the club has made me feel going into this window with what they've put out in the press. It's how Eddie has reacted in press conferences building up towards the end of the season, reiterating certain things. And it's also based on the fact that Paul Mitchell, the man who has been given that job and has been in that position for 12 months, has now departed, leaving Newcastle in a position not only where they are still looking for a new CEO. Obviously, that could be an appointment which is made rather quickly. We've already mentioned the name on the show tonight, who, you know, Newcastle are potentially looking at. And of course, he can't come in until Darren Neal steps down, which of course is this month. But then you would imagine that that person is going to want to work with a director of football, because that is the way it's going. So, you know, we've also got players who are out of contract. We've got players who haven't been offered new contracts. Callum Wilson springs to mind. You know, his position, Eddie wouldn't really give too much away, but certainly he's not going to get a new contract. May get a pay-as-you-play contract. So there's so many little bits around this. I know it's an impossible question to ask, but it's. Do you think this is going to be a summer where we'll spend some money on? You don't have to put a figure on it. Just, is this the summer where Newcastle will go back to what they did when Amanda Mirdad came in, and they had a bit of a war chest, as Alan Oliver used to say in the Chronicle, to spend? Are we going to spend some money, Alan, do you think? And if we are, is it going to be a considerable amount? Do you think we'll have to sell to buy? There's lots of different sides to this. So I've given you a little bit of time to think, Alan, by waffling on, and the rest of the lads have got the advantage because they're not going first. But yeah, go on, Alan. What's your feelings?
Well, we need to, Steve. Simple as that. We need to. And as well as I'm in the Stu Penman boat here, I seriously think we need to spend, and I know you said don't give us figures, between, I would say, 100 to 140 million, Steve, as well as selling players, because that is just a standstill, lads. That's not to win the title, as some people are saying, because we've got the fourth oldest squad in the whole league, and these players need replacing desperately, or at least bolstered. I think we need at least 3 starters that could say, right, you buy them and get them in. And I'm like Barry, I'm already worried that, like, the likes of Liverpool and the likes of Chelsea have had that structure in place and said, right, we're getting this player as soon as the season ends, and they're getting them. And I'm worried that every day that passes now, that we're linked with this, but that should have already been done, Steve. So I'm starting off with the keepers. We've got about 50 keepers at the club. Now, is Nick Pope going to be here long term? I don't think so. So we need to start with that. And I hear a lot of the lads in the chat say, well, that's not imperative, but he's starting to get on now as a keeper. And if you want to improve, we need to buy at least, I think, 5 players and 3 starters and 2 very promising youngsters. They say they could, if that person's injured, come into the team. I am starting to worry that they will, because don't forget, lads, Eddie doesn't like much change. He's kept with the likes of Callum Wilson. He's kept with the likes of other players like Richie much longer than you really should do. And that's what worries us. Dan Burns had a fantastic season. If we're going to player of the season, Steve, later in the show, if we've got time.
That's next week.
He would probably be my player of the season. But you've got to start replacing these lads in the likes of Chelsea. And don't forget the gap. That's why Champions League was so important for us, as well as Aston Villa, to be honest, is we've still got a chasm to chase up the likes of Man City, Chelsea, Man United on wages. As much as we get frustrated and people on the chat about Chelsea buying this, their financial situation is far, far better than ours. And we've got to keep making Champions League every year just to close that gap and to be in the top 5 and keep winning trophies. And that's the only way we're going to progress as a club. So I am really worried, Steve, that if we don't get at least 1 top player before June the 10th, I'll be worried, because then there's 3 more weeks. Will be rumours about getting this player, getting that player, and it's the end of June. You're getting into July, and we need to get these players through the door. And Paul Mitchell leaving doesn't help matters as far as I'm concerned. As much as we might say, did he do much for the club? There was a lot of youngsters came through the door in his time in the 12 months. So Eddie would trust, but this is, in my eyes, the most important transfer window since the takeover. Just to stand still, Steve, to be honest with you, just to stand still. So I'll let have it go, but yes, I'm excited, but I am worried until the first names get through the door, because we cannot just go on like the last 3 transfer windows now and buy nobody.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Craig, one of the moderators, will explain what this XP thing is. It's got nothing to do with me. It's another YouTube initiative, which it seems a bit pointless, really, but there you go. Darren, transfer window. What's your feelings, mate? Are we going to spend big? Are we going to be able to spend some money that we should have earned, I would imagine, from at least the Adidas deal? You would have thought there was some kind of, input from that. And, are we going to have to sell players to buy? I mean, I think it's already Jeff mentioning Anthony Gordon seems to be one of the latest rumours that, just won't go away. Another transfer window where he's been linked with a move out of the club. What's your feelings about the transfer window, Darren?
I think we will. And we must have. If they both want to continue finishing the Champions League, they've got to spend money. And if they don't, the crowd are going to get in the back on it. Do you know what I mean? They're quick as see to get money. Do you know what I mean? So, done that early this year. I slightly disagree with Alan. I don't think a big name player is catastrophic before June the 10th. Alan, you forget that players on holiday. Do you know what I mean? Players are away on holiday. They need fun time. So, then it opens 6 days later after that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I don't think I slightly agree with Alan just a little bit. I don't think it's a big deal of signing it before the 10th. It's players all the agents will be phoning, ringing around now. And I believe Howe's got to. I think Howe know who he wants. He's got to. I think Willock will go. I think Longstaff will go. And I think Nick Pope will go. So that means, my eyes, I think we need about 6 players in. Badly. Because remember, Sir Bobby Robson, if you finished 5th, if you want to do better, you need to get players in. And that's what Bobby Robson always said, didn't he? That was always his belief. Wherever you finish the league, you want to do better, get better players in. So I think 150. That's my personal money, but we'll get money for Joe Willock, Longstaff to go, and Nick Pope will go. I like my personal opinion, but I don't think I think come July, I think I'm expecting a few players in.
Okay, Paul, I agree with you. If we don't make signings in the first 10-day window, I will be concerned. And it's the fact that it does lead to the speculation and the meltdown, which we will see on social media. I mean, my advice is always not to bother reading any of this clickbait. I'm not going to, name papers, but I think we all know which ones they are with their, AI generated headlines now. They don't even have headline writers now. They just seem to be relying on AI rubbish. I've seen about one newspaper in particular has about 7 different stories about Mbeumo from Brentford. It's absolutely crazy, and all of them link more or less to the same story or a similar story. It's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, 150, Alan said 140, we need to spend 140, 150. Darren said 150. What's your feelings, Kev?
I would rather have the quality of player than the amount of money spent based on the depth of player that we need. Yes, that might go into the 150 millions. You can put any figure on it. I think the recruitment team, the staff have already identified those players and earmarked them with what they want. The big thing for me was at the end of the Everton game when the chairman anyhow had an embrace. I would love to know what was said in that conversation, knowing what we know now after the Mitchell departure. That was quite telling to me. But for me, Eddie's got the control of what he's won the battle at the end of the day. He's getting what he wants. So disagree with the sporting director that not a waste of time. I think we need more of a technical director. to, yes, develop players in the youth setups and all the rest of it. That's where in the women's game, whatever. But for me, it's the spine of the team that we need to look at. It's the spine of the side. It's the players that who unfortunately are not. Yes, they're good pros. Yes, they've helped us out in dire times, of the Wilsons of the world, the Jamal Lascelles of the world, but they don't have value to sell. That's the big problem as well. They've got no value. You know, Callum Wilson's coming at the end of his contract, and how much are they going to get for him? He's going to be a free agent by the end of his contract, so they're not going to get anything for him. So it's a double-edged sword of what they want, how they're going to approach it. But like I said previously, I think they've already identified. I think they're going to. I watched the Inter Milan PSG game, and PSG had the youngest team in the whole competition, and they won it by a canter, by the way. And we beat them last year and drew with them. So look where they've developed, signing good quality younger players at a very good market value price. And that's what I would go looking at. Not the upper 20s, not into that area. I'll go young, 25 and younger, who have a bit more of a want, a desire, but obviously within the policy that Eddie Howe has of the no dickhead type of policy, where you're going to integrate within the group, you buy into what I need, because if you have somebody above you saying, no, this is what I think we need, then there's a friction there already. So give the control, like back in the old school days, of the manager deciding who he wants with his recruitment staff, and we'll go get him. Again, yes, you can put a pound figure on it, but like the lads have said, you know, you could spend 150 million, you can buy 150 million worth of bags of crap, to be honest. You can't put money on it. You just have to be very clever and very diligent of where your money goes. We cut our cloth very accordingly from what we've not done, but previously with the Tina Livramento signing, come out to be pretty much a world-class right back, left back. Lewis Hall, same thing. Sandro Tonali is one of the best midfielders in the country. Bruno, same thing. You know, even the Joe Linton signing for 40 million, how much is he worth now? So again, you've got to find these diamonds across the world. And I think they've done, I would imagine they've already done it. So I would say, again, not put money in onto it. I would expect at least 5 or 6 players to come in. But obviously we've got to get the deadwood out first. If it's free, if it's whatever, that is irrelevant. You have to get those players out first to then really push on and develop and not stand still, like the lad. I think Alan said and the lads have said. We can't stand still. If you stand still, you're going backwards in the Premier League and the Champions League. We have to move forward. So yeah, I'm expecting or hopeful of the Club World Cup's another debacle. Why we've got a break within all of that, I don't get that at all. But it is what it is. FIFA run the game, so they decide what they want. So if we again. At least 2 before that break, and then 3 or 4 after that, I'll be happy with 6, because I think that's what we really, really need.
Okay, Magnus.
Yeah, with regards to this transfer window, I mean, I am. Right now, if Eddie Howe is in charge, he's got to be thinking here and now. So I think already lots of work has been done in bolstering the youngsters team. And I mean, we got the Georgian guy, we got the Spanish lad, and we've got some Irish talents there in the defense. And I'm quite hopeful. We got the Karen Cole and you know, I'd be very happy to see Antonio Cordero come straight into the team, but time will tell on that. You know, he's probably going to be loaned out first. But I'm thinking we need to at least buy 2 senior squad players, and my main focus. And I feel like I'm having the same conversation as when I first spoke to you, Steve. You know. We were looking for a right-sided winger, and we were looking for a right-sided centre back back when we first spoke in February 2020. Was it 23? You know, I'd be very happy if we get the 2 senior squad players, and my main focus would be those 2 positions. You know, I think we should go all out for Nico Williams, and there's another player that I find very exciting at Nottingham Forest. There's this Murillo guy in the defense. I don't know if he's available. Probably not. But that kind of player, like very powerful, fast, he's scoring goals. And I'm just thinking we need a pace in defense. We cannot go another season with just Dan Burn and Fabian Schär. We were lucky this season to do it. And then the other two positions, if we do have 4 slots to fill, then the other 2 would be a striker and a goalkeeper for me. I mean, most likely Wilson is leaving, and then I mean, we're never going to have 5 goalkeepers and still looking for another one after this transfer window. So I am thinking 2 goalkeepers will be leaving. Yeah, there are plenty of goalkeepers to be found. I'd like to urge the scouts, if we are dealing with financial fair play, then keep an eye on that game on Wednesday. Scotland are playing Iceland, and especially up front and down the goalkeeper position, keep an eye on those guys, because our defense is not great, I must say. But attacking, there's the Orri Óskarsson that has just become the captain of the Icelandic team. He's only 19 years old, so and he comes from the same direction as our very own Alexander Isak. And I mean, everybody is looking at Goikers, the Swedish lad. These are all speculations, you know. If this is too high of a price tag, Goikers is a great player, but keep an eye on this game on Wednesday, because and if Stu is watching, you know, my boys against your boys. Keep an eye on those guys.
Great stuff, Magnus. George, feelings on this transfer window? Do you think we'll spend?
Just trying to work out what sort of percentage Magnus is on from the Icelandic FA.
He tries every week. He tries every week.
25%.
Seriously though, it's got to be a spending window, hasn't it?
Got to be, George. Got to be.
It's got to be. All the hard work's been done. We've got into the Champions League. We could have been much higher in the league with a little bit of common sense, a little bit of luck, and you know, just had the best season we have. It could have been even better. Are they going to waste it by not backing Eddie in the transfer window this time? Because if they do, if they do, it would be criminal. It really would be criminal. It would be negligence of the worst order. And Kev's right. He uses the word Spain. I agree with that. I believed, and I don't know why, that we'd already signed Trafford from Burnley on a pre-season agreement. That doesn't seem to be coming out anymore. But and that again, that means Pope's going to go, I think, and probably a couple of other goalkeepers. Vlachodimos is going to go. You can't keep an international goalkeeper as your 3rd or 4th choice. It just doesn't make sense. So I don't want to see Newcastle team with 2 or 3 goalkeepers amongst the substitutes this year. That's one of the things I don't want to happen. So I'd like to see a goalkeeper. I'd like to see a centre back, and I'd like to see a striker. And Wemo fits the striker bit because he's good down the right, but he can play across the 5. He can play in any of the forward positions, including centre forward. So you know there are options there. I've been giving Mitchell credit for all of these talented youngsters coming in, but somebody else reminded me that all the people that have been with the club all the time, like Nixon and others, have been working hard as well, and they should get some of the credit for that. So fine. But another thing I don't want to see is if we go back for Gahey, it's got to be one offer and finished, because Mitchell allowed Crystal Palace to really show up last year when we went for Gahey and let Steve Paris get all the publicity and saying what they wanted and telling the world what we were prepared to pay. You know, that worried me a bit. Well, in fact, Mitchell worried me from the beginning. You got a guy who comes in with a 5-year plan, and he's never been in a job more than 3 years in his whole bloody career. You know, so what's that about? So, you know, it was all the things he was saying at the beginning were things he shouldn't have been saying. Were bound to upset Eddie and the staff and the club. So goodbye to good riddance as far as I'm concerned with that one. Kevin's right as well. Congratulations to all the staff and all the players. Been a great season. I think we've got an even better one coming, but they must back him in the transfer window. If I've had to put a price on it, it would my price would be upwards of 150 million because the money's there. The money we've won for a position in the league, the money we've won for other things, the money from sponsorships, and add it all together, and it looks quite a nice pile. And we don't have the PSR pressure that we had last time either. So I would like to see something upwards of 150 million. But again, going back to Kevin, we want the right players, not necessarily the ones that cost the most. That's the big thing. And let's face it, Sandro Tonali came out of the blue for me when he arrived. He's a young player and has turned into one of the best midfielders in the Premiership. A couple more of Sandro Tonali's would do me, I can tell you, in terms of age and quality. So I'm down the spine if we're strengthened, so we can take the pressure off Shaw and Byrne and Buckman and a striker definitely, but at least minimum of 3 who could walk straight into the team, with 2 or 3 who are good enough to sit on the bench and make a difference when they come on. But not worried about how much. But I want to see them. They've done the hard work. Let's consolidate it by backing the manager with players.
Okay, Barry, you are busy as always with the list, which you send to me every week. And honestly, Barry, I mean, it's laughable when you look back at these lists because 99% strike rate on those lists of not getting any of those players, and some of them are just bizarre. I mean, people are saying in the chat tonight we've been linked with Tim Krul, and Jose Perez. I mean, it's ludicrous, really, Barry. But yeah, where do you stand? What do you think we'll spend? What kind of outlay are you expecting?
I think it's fascinating. I just wish I was watching it from a non-Newcastle point of view, that it wasn't as important to us as it is, because I think this transfer window will be huge across so many teams. I think you're right, Steve. It feels like, looking at the names, I mean, I've only been doing the list for 4 days and we've got 54 names in 4 days that we've been linked with according to the press. They're basically sticking a pin. They must have a list of every player playing in Europe, and they must just be closing their eyes and sticking a pin in a name and just going, right, that's who we're going to sign. I think the guys between them, they've said what I'm hoping for, that behind the scenes, whether that's stuff that Mitchell's already done or stuff that both Hows, obviously Eddie and his other relative, who's the stuff I've been reading about today is way high up in the scouting of the new players and everything else. I can't remember his first name. I'm hoping they're going to find some hidden bargains, because I wouldn't touch Gay with a barge pole. And Bermo is not worth the 80, 90 million that they're going to demand for him. There's damn sight better players out there than him. But at the same time, you've got this crappy homegrown rule that's now being chucked at us every 5 minutes, that they've got to have played for this academy and they've got to have played so long in British football and this, that, and the other. It's just, it's going to be really weird, because I want us to, and I'm not saying this was great by any means, but the Graham Carr days, where we suddenly came up with 3 French players that nobody had ever heard of, who turned out to be absolutely incredible. I want us to go back to that we find players who aren't necessarily Premier League based, but who are going to set the world alight and who we can bring in for a reasonable price and not get ripped off by other clubs in the Premier League. I wouldn't touch anybody who plays in the Premier League, to be honest, because I think we still have this. It's Newcastle. Let's rip them off by a bit more money. And I think that's a horrendous way to go on, but that's how the Premier League is now. So I would find it very difficult to do anything. And I mean, I feel so sorry for the fans, because we are like George said, we've had nobody in how many windows? Nobody's backed Eddie House. And now as soon as a name's mentioned, the fans are sitting there hoping that the club is going to back Eddie Howe. They're going to reward what we've done this season with bringing in players. But we've, to some extent, I've heard other podcasts today where they say, just bear with it. You know, don't listen to all the crap that's going on, and just see, like you guys say, Steve, on a regular basis, when the guy stood at St. James's Park with the shirt on, then he's our signing. Until then, it's probably a load of shite that's there for clickbait. Just enjoy laughing at some of it. Like you say, Steve, Fraser Forster, Shea Gibbons, somebody mentioned in the chat. I would love to see Shea come back. I think he could still do a job now. Tim Kroll, 37-year-old, both being released on freeze. It's just gonna get crazier, isn't it? Once this transfer window opens, like you guys have said, if we don't sign anybody, some of our fan base will hit the panic button and go, "Oh my God, we've had blah days and we didn't sign anybody." We're not going to sign anybody before the end of the transfer window, and I think we'll possibly wait till the second transfer window before we'll start doing our business. I know that's not what I was hoping for, because I totally agree with what Alan said. I want the players in now. I want us to have done the groundwork and had the names on the list and been approaching them and get them signed the minute we'll get a chance to do it. But like we say, that doesn't seem to be Newcastle's way of doing things. So I'm sitting with bated breath, Steve, adding me numbers to me list and just having a chuckle to myself when some of the names come up.
Good stuff. Thank you for doing it again, Barry. Jeff, last but by no means least, mate, your views on this transfer window.
Well, I want to join in this general wave of nostalgia and the good old days. Oh, yes. Well, I do like to go back to the days of the Romans, who established that a triumvirate is a very good way of making decisions. And the idea of having the chairman, the manager, and the chief scout. And a scouting network composed of ex-players who go around all the games and local games, and they go to the international games, and they go everywhere around and bring up the club and say, "Oh, I've just seen this lad here," all the rest of it. Yeah, and that's the way I like it. This is all being driven by agents, because this doesn't come from the club. If this comes from the club, you're in trouble. I'm going to tell you a story. I used to be what we would call the security industry. And I went to a club called Newcastle United one day. And I said to the person I was dealing with, "What's going on in New Zealand? This is something unusual. Normally your scouts are in, France, Lower Countries, Italy." Yeah, we found a young lad over there who's very interested. Oh, yeah. Turned out to be a lad called Wood, who did very well for himself. But I've never told anybody. But, we keep secrets in the trade, and we don't like this stuff getting out. Okay. What else have I got to say? It's good to see some new young talent coming in. I have no idea what the budget should be. 150 to 150 million players. No, I don't think so. I'd just like to say the gardens in Darras Hall must be bloody immaculate by now. The amount of time's been spent in there. And that's my contribution for the moment.
Good stuff. The clock has beaten us on the fans forum. Next week we will be back together again, and we will be looking at the lads' opinions and handing out a few awards. So I will be sending the lads the list. They can give us their views next week. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow live again at 7:00 to do an episode of Ask George. So if you can get your questions sorted out now so that we can get a good start tomorrow night. That would be fantastic. Look forward to seeing everybody live at 7:00. Thanks to Jeff, to Barry, to George, to Magnus, to Kevin, to Darren, and to Alan, and to you at home for joining us. Take care.
Good to see you, lads. Good to see you.
Take care, lads.